Hello and welcome to Jerez here in beautifully sunny Spain. I'm Michael, man for BikeSocial, and the reason why I'm here is for these round black things. New from Bridgestone, the Battlax Hyper Sport S22s. And this is Fabian Francois. Fabian, thanks so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Fabian is the product planning manager for Bridgestone Europe. Fabian, thank you, first of all, for inviting us here and introducing your new tyre. But tell me a little bit about the S22s. How do they move on from the S21s? What's new about them?
Well, first of all, we waited a little bit longer compared to its predecessor to get into the market. So I just want to mention this because we wanted to make a big step forward. So we took the time to really work on the new tyre. And so what's completely new? Pattern design with a lot of work, a lot of research in terms of the connection with the road, the deformation of the tyre, how it feels, and the feedback of the tyre. Secondly, we are working quite a lot in terms of chemical components. So the new compounds on the rear and the front tire. I will go maybe a little bit deeper on afterwards. Yeah. So mainly that's it, but the connection with the road and the feeling, that was really a big step forward.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to BikeSocial and welcome to Jerez here in southern Spain, where we are testing the Bridgestone Battlax S22 tyre. What a circuit it is, proper Grand Prix circuit, nice and wide, smooth, fast corners. Oh, lovely. You can feel the rear. Oh yes, this is just stunning. This front tyre, absolutely mega.
This is not necessarily an evolution, is it? It's a brand new tyre. Let's make that perfectly clear.
Yeah, that's why you don't see an S21 Evo on a short-term development, but you will really see that we took our time and make a big step forward in terms of performances. Maybe I can start with the new explanation and what we have done.
Yes.
So first of all, you can really see that compared to the S21, the shoulder area on the rear tire and the shoulder area on the front tire, we increase the sealant ratio, so the amount of grooves that are positioned on the shoulder area. One, for the deformation of the tire, but secondly, you will see that the angle of the grooves is much more longitudinal compared to the S21, which was much more open.
Right.
This is to compensate all the working forces that are coming on the tire and to have the feedback of the tire, because we could increase the amount of grooves to have that deformation. But if you put them in the wrong way, you will have too much and it will be feeling weak. And that Bridgestone high-speed stability is still one of our main points.
And it's obviously important to get those grooves in the right place for water dispersion, and I think that wet performance is...
Exactly. I was coming on it, because on top of having those new grooves, we wanted, in the first concept way for S21 to S22, we really wanted to add excellent wet performances. So, of course, on top of the new pattern design, which is linked to the water drainage, we have new compound on the front and 2 new compounds on the rear.
Okay.
So in terms of enhancement, I will explain what we have done in terms of compound improvements.
Sure.
So on the first part, you have the center compound of the front tire, where we change completely the resin of the mixture of the compounds. So the resin, that's a polymer that we are using inside the mixture to make the tackiness happening. And that resin is a completely new concept from our side, and that enhances directly the grip performances in the dry. For the wet, we made a new compound which is coming on the center rear side, which is that large somehow.
So there's 2 compounds on the front,
we have
one in the middle and then another one either side.
Yes, exactly.
And 3 compounds on the rear.
Correct.
Okay.
Here, here, and here.
Got it.
So the center compound on the rear has made big steps in terms of wet traction. What we have done for that, of course, we are using silica components, silica molecules to enhance the wet performance, but compared to S21. The S21 molecules, I will just mention it like this, S21 molecules are like this, okay, from silica. S22 molecules are like this.
Much smaller.
Much smaller. And we could disperse them much better through the mixture, that in total, when you imagine this on a micro level, that when the tire is touching the ground, we have 25% more silica molecules touching the ground.
And enhances wet performance.
Exactly.
Right.
So maybe a few numbers make it interesting,
Yes,
right?
please, yes.
So from S21 to S22, 5% faster on our wet handling track.
Right.
Really big step forward. Then we have our 1.2% on the dry handling track. And we have a big step forward in terms of cornering performance because the confidence level is much more high and we could counter extra cornering force, which gives 15% cornering speed additional.
15%. And that's using the shoulder of the tire.
That's using shoulder front and end of traction and edge compound of the rear. Correct.
Okay. And it's how fast is it on a dry lap? Faster?
1.2%.
Wow. And how is that measured? Where did you do these kind of tests?
Well, we have, for the wet handling track, we did this on our proving ground. We have a proving ground south of Rome in Europe, and we have a proving ground in facility close to Tochigi in Japan. So there we could really measure corner by corner, and in turn 4, you really see that the cornering, same line, same bike, everything, we could take 15% higher speeds.
It's magnificent. Now, tell me about the size range as well on the tyres.
Well, we introduced the S22 already with 6 sizes already in the market as of January. The main common sizes from 120 front, then 160 rear, 180, 190, 50, 190, 55, 200.
All on 17-inch rims.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have, as a second introduction, as of next year, we're going to have the Supersport 300 sizes, H-rated tires, and a special 180/60 Ducati size.
Ah, perfect. And this is January 2020, isn't it?
Exactly, correct.
The second release. And let's talk a little bit about the... it's fairly obvious when we talk about 17-inch wheels and hypersport, what the target market is. But certainly here at Jerez, we've got quite a wide range of sports bikes.
Yeah, exactly. So today, we need to be polyvalent on this kind of target market because we have 650 CB, 650R, like a sporty naked bike but small engine size, 90 horsepower, things like that, up to a naked bike like a Super Duke R with 180 horsepower, and on top all the last generation hypersport bikes. And with this tire we're also following somehow the match with this new generation hypersport bikes because it's always faster, lighter and better, and that's where we are also faster for.
So everybody, all those manufacturers are making faster, lighter, better, and also more electronically laden sports bikes. You're getting north of 200 horsepower these days with ease. Yeah. So it means that you guys in the tire world have to
work with that as well, and that kicks in during the development for us. Sure. Because you need to imagine that all the electronic components on the new generation bikes, they have, like, it's a system to help the rider, but on the other hand it impacts the performance of the tire because, for example, I'm thinking about traction control system. Traction control system have evolved now also over the past years, and in the last generation you still had those very high cut systems where the ignition was cut very hard, and that has a huge impact on the tire because somehow the tire is gripping, slipping, gripping, slipping, gripping, slipping, making somehow the tire life worse than it could be.
So we've had 4 sessions so far today. I've been able to bagsy the GSX 1000, S1000RR, the new one, a Honda Fiber, the 2019 version, and also ZX10. So I'm kind of all out of litre sports bikes. I'm going to try one of the smaller naked bikes, just to get a flavour of what it's like on one of those bikes in a moment. But look, first impressions are phenomenal. I cannot believe that this is a street tyre primarily. The front end grip is stunning. You can turn quickly, sharply. It's steady on the brakes. Look, it's a fantastic.
It's a good mention that you say it because don't remind us we are here in Jerez track just to make it possible for you to get close to the limits of a hypersport tire today, but remind it because what you've done there is quite incredible already, but it's still a street tire in the first place.
Yeah, of course. They heat up quickly. They get up to temperature very nicely. Again, naturally and obviously you don't want them to overheat, so it's okay for bringing down those pressures, right?
Yes, exactly, to avoid a little bit of the overheating in the traction area and to still have the confidence level at the right place during the whole, because we are here with 3 journalist groups. We have on top 18 sessions on the day, so you can imagine that the tires are suffering anyway.
They're doing a good job. Fabian, thanks so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Nice one. We'll have a full review at BikeSocial.co.uk.